Chapter 1. Far West, Truth and Untruth. School was finally out. Except for science and math, Jada Yates had barely passed. It was the same story last year and the year before. By now, most teachers didn't expect much from Jada. They understood she was a smart girl who didn't try. Jada's mother, Sharon Yates, nagged, "If you want to be something, you've got to try harder. You hear what I'm saying? Every day, I'm out there trying." Sharon Yates drove a bus for AC Transit, the local bus company. Driving a bus provided good wages and good benefits, but it was a hard job. The daily challenge of maneuvering a big, behemoth machine through traffic, dealing with unpleasant riders, and sitting for long hours made Sharon tired and cranky at the end of the day. "I want better things for you," she told Jada. "I didn't take the chances that came my way. I want you to have lots of chances and choices." Jada shrugged. Maybe if her daddy had been around, things would have been different. Maybe she would have tried harder. But Jada hadn't seen her daddy since she was a bitty girl. Sometimes she scribbled his name on a scrap of paper. Randolph Russell Yates, Randolph Russell Yates, Randolph Russell Yates. She wrote it over and over like a prayer, wishing he'd come back. "I wish he was here too," her mother sighed. "Army business keeps that man traveling day and night. I guess he loves the Army more than anything." Although the Oakland Army base was shut down, older folks in the neighborhood still talked about the good jobs there. Back in 3rd grade, Jada rode her bike from her house on Wood Street over to West Grand and the Army base. It was a couple of miles, too far for a little girl to go alone. Alone she went, passing factories and warehouses, apartment buildings, and an abandoned railroad station. She was scared, but also determined. When she arrived, Jada was uncertain what to do. She looked at the high fences and empty buildings. Then she wheeled her bike inside the empty gate. She hoped to find a guard who would look up her daddy's name in a computer. She was in luck. Next to one of the warehouses were 3 men in uniforms. "Do you know my daddy?" she asked. "Does your daddy have a name?" One of the men laughed. "Randolph Russell Yates," she said shyly. "Never heard of him," they chimed. Jada choked back her disappointment. "Do you know how I can find him?" she asked insistently. "Not a clue," they said. She thanked them and bicycled home, her eyes clouded with tears. That night, she asked her mother, "Where do you think Daddy is today?" "I wish I knew," Sharon sighed heavily. It was hard to be a single mom and make all the decisions. Jada studied her daddy's photo that she kept by her bed. Although it didn't make total sense, she made herself believe her mother's story. Why, she asked herself, didn't he call or write? Why didn't he visit? Soldiers got to see their families. Even she knew that. Auntie Yates was Jada's great-grandmother. Jada loved to visit Auntie Yates in North Richmond. She especially liked to play in the large garden behind the house. One day she found a baby bird as small as her thumb. The bird had fallen from its nest in the apple tree. Jada carefully picked up the bird and gently laid it in the palm of her hand. Then she tiptoed into the house. She overheard her mother say, "I can't take Jada with me." "She's old enough," Auntie Yates said. Jada stopped outside the kitchen door. Her mother was upset. Auntie Yates was upset too. "You've got to tell her the truth someday," Auntie Yates urged. "What truth?" Jada trembled with a deep, unspoken fear as she peeked through the door. For a few moments, Auntie Yates didn't speak. She stood at the stove, stirring a savory stew made with vegetables from her garden. Carrots, parsnips, onions, and squash simmered in the pot. "Jada is very bright," she said. "She's going to figure it out on her own. That will be worse than telling her the truth." "What's she going to think about the truth after my telling her lies?" Sharon cried. Jada shut her eyes. She held her breath. She was afraid to learn what the truth and untruth might be. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat. Auntie Yates' knife chopped basil, parsley, and thyme. Jada waited for the chopping to stop. "We lied because we thought it was best," Sharon said. "If Jada sees her daddy in prison, she'll never trust me again." "You thought it was best then. Now she's old enough to know the truth. Sharon, please tell her you're sorry. Then tell her where Randy really is." Jada tiptoed back to the garden. She set the baby bird under the tree. Maybe the bird's mother or father would rescue it. Maybe a cat would eat it. Maybe it would starve to death. Jada told herself it didn't matter. It wasn't her problem. After that day, Jada stopped asking when her daddy was coming home. She put her daddy's photo in a drawer. She waited for her mother to tell her the truth.